Everyone,
the countywide.
good to see everyone tonight. Can I have a motion to come back into regular session, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Nunley, would you administer the verification statement, please?
Yes, sir. Virginia Code 1950, Section 223712. Do you certify that to the best of your knowledge, number one, the town council in its closed session only discuss public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and two, that only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the town council. Any member of the town council who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of clauses 1 and 2 shall so state prior to the vote, indicating the substance of the departure that in their judgment has taken place. Mr. Lehman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Stanley.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Doty.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Fields.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Gilman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Tiller.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Short.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. This time, if we could stand, I'd like to call on Shaw Street for our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. John, thank you.
Yep. Good, let's bow our hearts forward. Almighty God, thank you, Heavenly Father, for the opportunity to be out and do the town's business tonight. And just thank you for everyone that's gathered here, and just ask that you give the town council members the wisdom of Solomon to lead our little town according to your will. And I know you don't take sides, but the mayor and the pastor does. Let the Raiders turn it around and have a winning season. Amen.
Oh, I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, council members, are there any items on, that are not on the agenda that you would like to discuss tonight, any other business? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ms. Nunley sent us minutes today that we've reviewed, that were edited from 2 or 3 sentences in one area. I believe she told us on page 4. I think everyone has read those. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting in September as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Brad, you second? Sure. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Short, do you have any additions to the accounts payable?
Yes, sir. Extra stations, would be on page 2. There was 2 additions for professional services and janitorial services. One for $900, one for $875.
Oh, that. All right. Mr. Gilmer, Chair of Finance Committee, disappointment. Send that to you.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I'll make or no further additions, I'll make the motion to approve the September's accounts payable with the additions we presented.
Any further discussion?
One thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Drew, we continue, it looks like earmark and Centas continues to be around $4,500 a year, month. If you could, please look into that and see if there's anything that we can cut. I know we're now checking our own restrooms. I know earmark's coming maybe to do the soap, different things, but if you and Shane or Diane can have a chance to look over those to make sure if there's any savings there for us to help with that $4,500 expense per month.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Mr. Doty, you can give a second.
Oh.
I'll second.
I'll say that, Mayor.
So he did. Scott made the motion. Elijah second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay. At this time, in accordance with the publication in the paper, we're having a public hearing this evening on the abandonment of Puckett Street, which was the street that ran behind the old carriage house property. So I see, Keith, are you in here? There you go. Would you like to come forward with your request? And then we have anyone else that would like to speak. I see Bo here, so I'm assuming, are you going to speak tonight, Bo?
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, let's let Keith go first.
Mr. Mayor, council members, appreciate the opportunity to address you this evening. If I may, these are just some handouts that, well, if I may, share one with the council. People here for the hallway. And the request, Mr. Mayor, is just really to help with the development of the Main Street Villas project that we're working on. Specifically, the Puckett Street intercepts the parcels of land that we have for the development. The handout that I've given, and there's one here for the public, but shows the units that we're putting in on the units that are actually adjoining Main Street.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Do you have an extra one of these? Mr. Rose, please. Go ahead, Keith.
Thank you.
The setback of the units from Main Street is actually going to encroach on the existing road. You'll see on the left side of the handout, if you will, the property line on the corner there at Puckett Street. And I think it's Lowe's family's home right there in the corner, but that main portion of Puckett Street is the area that we're actually looking at for the council to consider in abandonment. Again, the setback of the units that we're developing there on Main Street are going to be pushed back and kind of encroach on Puckett Street as it exists. So it would be our request if council approves and no objection, but of course consideration for abandoning that section. We will be developing an entrance to the back for the residents of that area, specifically driveways that come up that adjoin to the unit. So there's going to be access to the backside of the property. It just wouldn't be town maintained. The other small section would be to the west end of the property there, would still be the town's current road.
Cedar Creek.
Well, that portion of Puckett Street.
Oh,
To
yes.
the dumpster there, correct, Keith?
Correct. That dumpster actually would be the elevation of the road as it comes up in the back. That dumpster would be on a lower site level with those units. The 3 units that we have at the very end of the property, which would be over the commercial component. And on that attachment, we've just put some schematics of potentially what that would look like. But those would be at grade level in the back on the current grade of Puckett Street. So that back portion.
So what you're asking is, right there where it states enclosed dumpster, anything west of the enclosed dumpster, you're asking to be abandoned. Anything east will be an open, correct?
And I want to make make sure I've got my coordinates.
East would be to the left side of the drawing.
There at the enclosed dumpster that you're showing at the end of the current bucket,
Right.
to the left of that will remain open?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Now, again, and we briefly spoke here prior to the meeting, but I know the concerns that there's not a thoroughfare through there, but there still would be access, and at the top there, our architect and engineer are still looking. I don't know the exact, I think that road right now, its existing width is probably about 14 foot.
It's Tanner Street, yeah.
Yeah. Where on the lower section, it is wider, closer probably to 22 foot, roughly.
You talking about coming off Main Street?
Get down on Putnam Street. Yeah, towards Cedar Creek. But it's just that upper corner that section of road is rather narrow.
Yeah.
And always has been, but, and I understand some concerns that it's not a thoroughfare, but there still would be access on the backside, but not directly through, that section of road there on the west side would remain existing and open.
Okay. Does all council members have an understanding of what Mr. Byers is requesting regarding the Puckett Street abandonment? Any council members have questions? Keith, this time. Okay. Vote.
Council, my big concern with this is snow removal, trash pickup, mail, package delivery. You just come up to a dead-end road there, where are these vehicles gonna turn? How are they gonna get back out of there? They can't back in, back out. Also, I mean, I don't understand blocking the road with the dumpster. Why doesn't the dumpster just get pushed back so that you still have, so that means that traffic from the right-hand side down into Russell Builders, that traffic those people that's coming up to pull into their property, and also delivery, they're gonna have nowhere to turn around there. So they pull in there, what they're gonna do, just come back down the road again. And of course what they're proposing to abandon Puckett Street there, who's gonna maintain that area is the Cone Plateau. Are they gonna maintain maintenance on that, do snow removal on that? I just don't understand why they would need to abandon the road that's already there, even if they had to push the road back 10 feet and still maintain passageway from one end to the other as it is now. I'm just concerned about property value and convenience for visitors and commercial vehicles. So Mr. Byers keeps saying that this is just a rough plan, but before I could support it, and I would hope before the council could support it, you have a more definite plan, instead of just saying, yeah, we'll block that road off. Well, that gives them the capability to do anything they want to back there. So I think there needs to be more consideration about what the product's going to be. And of course, you know, I'm not the only property owner here that this affects, and that's the reason I stand alone here. But I would appreciate it if you would consider our property and our property values and how the town is going to maintain this small section on the left-hand side of your print. I mean, how are you gonna turn snowplow up there? How's the trash truck gonna get the trash? Or if you had the thoroughfare, you would, all the way through, you know, that problem goes away. So, and I appreciate your time.
Okay.
I would like you to consider my situation as well.
Thank you, Bill. Hey, Drew, or Keith, have y'all, did we have a discussion about cul-de-sac at the end of that property somewhere to keep that open? Did I bring that? Do you know, Keith, what you all are looking to do?
Yeah, and excellent, and, Paul makes a very good point. And we have no intent of wanting to inconvenience anybody. The existing space up there, and I do have our engineers looking at what kind of turn radius is going to be available up there. So I just don't have that this evening for council.
Okay.
But again, we're wanting to make sure that there would be an area that's big enough up there for vehicles to turn. And again, it's not our intent to inconvenience anybody. That's the last thing we'd want to do.
I understand.
But I understand his concerns wholeheartedly. Another in reference, snow removal and those type of things on the abandoned portion, that would be within our property.
Is that your maintenance then? Will you all maintain that?
Yes.
I'm talking about snow removal and all that.
Yeah, we currently do that.
You do that
all
all
of our
under
properties.
another contract?
Yeah. Yeah, so we have our own equipment for that type of activity.
Okay.
And not that that's the issue. The issue is the abandonment and concern of the residents that live here. But I do hope to have more detailed, excuse me, more detailed information for the council that's going to show a better footprint. The one concern, and again, Paul makes a very good point that why not leave the existing road? With the footprint of the unit and then the driveway at the rear, we're actually infringing over onto the existing road.
How far over do you know yet?
We're right up against it.
Right up
And
against it.
the setback's probably at a minimum of 10 foot. I'm not 100% sure.
So that's a different elevation where that enclosed dumpster is, correct, Keith?
Correct. At the pitch that the road goes up, there's going to be excavation there that would happen, that the dumpster would be actually at a lower level than what that top part of that road is.
I'm certainly not an architect, nor am I an engineer, but I have a question. So, hypothetical, where you're showing that enclosed dumpster, you know the one I'm talking about right there? If you grade out up there and move that dumpster up the hill, can we then keep that, can we keep the thoroughfare open if we move that dumpster up the hill?
Yeah, I don't think that the dumpster would be an issue.
Okay.
And just saying that we've got green space that's built in to the lower section.
All right, and so they're almost, they're abutting the current Puckett Street. They're right up on it, is what you're saying. The lower units.
Correct.
Main Street units.
Yeah.
And those folks who live in those units on Main Street will access their property from the rear. Am I reading that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I thought those were going to be duplex dwellings, and the bottom floors would come in from Main Street, and the top floor, those units would be accessed from Puckett Street.
I don't think, are they?
That's
they're
just
not
a commercial
separate. That's just a
section.
commercial. That's not the
It's
units.
on
They're
the
single level.
left-hand side, right in front of your mother's property.
That's the only one that's multi-story.
Yeah, that's a two-story.
Right.
So you have access from the bottom.
The other units are single-story dwellings, so
Okay.
Yeah. The
I see
commercial,
parking in the back.
if you live on one of those single-family dwellings on Main Street, you will access your property from Puckett Street,
Okay.
from the back,
In
from
fact,
that thoroughfare.
so there's gonna be a Puckett Street there. Why does the town need to abandon it?
I throw that to you.
well, again, the footprint of our buildings
Yeah.
and along with the driveway is encroaching on, the road would have to be reconstructed back there.
Have to be moved.
Are you talking about
How
the four
far?
buildings on the back side?
I'm sorry.
Are you talking about these four buildings on the right-hand side of Puckett Street when you're coming up?
No, actually, the front units,
Mm-hmm.
their location is gonna be up and fringed up onto Puckett Street.
Okay. Well, your print doesn't show that.
It, see, it doesn't show it
And I'm not
going.
being
I know, this is
facetious.
an early,
Okay, we've got,
we were getting the footprint of the number of units that we needed laid in on that site. They're actually surveying that as we speak.
we probably need to get a more clear
Exactly.
Yeah.
picture, you know?
And I will have that for you.
Yeah, let's just do that, and, in the meantime, I'm curious about, well, I think you've already answered answered the dumpster question as far as moving it up the hill a little bit out of the way of the road. You can move that dumpster site up the hill into the bank,
I mean,
and get it out of Puckett, get it out of the way.
yeah, if the road wasn't, if the road was reconfigured, we would have to do something else different.
That's what I'm
Yes,
asking.
yes.
Keith, I believe we better, let's get a more, let your guys do their redesigning
Okay.
and show it a little more clear, because you're right, Bo's right. When you look, we're sitting here looking at this. Right now, I don't see any units on the front encroaching on the street. And it may be because we don't have all the design factors yet.
Correct. Like I said, they're finishing up actually the total work.
Okay, all right.
Surveyors, they were actually out on site today, so I'm hoping.
You think you can have something by November?
And the date?
The next meeting is the 14th.
14th.
Keith, I know that Bo had mentioned about the grade on this side, come out of Puckett Street by the commercial buildings. But that'll all be VDOT spec, is that correct, as far as the access? I mean, you can only do a certain grade, and will this road be totally redeveloped from what it is now, or will just the width just change on it? On the small portion of Puckett Street, that goes into Main Street?
We would have no intent on altering it
Okay.
in any way. I mean,
That's the street.
Besides, right, you won't be widening that street at all?
no,
Okay.
we would not. Again,
With
That is-
commercial access, with commercial parking in the back, it doesn't need to where two cars can pass each other on that small section of Puckett Street?
all the commercial activity be pushed to the front.
But you got residential in the back.
Okay.
And currently, both, can you pass two cars on that road? See,
Not without dropping off.
currently, that's a one-way street.
Right.
Off Main Street, up
Yeah.
From the
to this
west
property.
end to the east end, that's the direction of traffic.
No, I think
Is that correct?
That is
From west
correct.
to east? So what,
It was, now the sign's down, but I think it's still
so what
supposed to be.
Councilman Gilmer is asking is well, I've got it highlighted, but the east side of the commercial building, if you're gonna have residential parking in the back, plus a residence in the back of Mr. Rose's family, they're gonna have to be able to pass two ways. So that can't be a single lane entrance anymore if we close down the west end of the street, because that was a one way. So you could have a single lane on one way. So if we close half of it down and make the other half a two way, two cars have to be able to pass.
Right.
that make sense?
I don't know if they can now or not. They may be able to now.
No,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
They can't.
I wouldn't.
Not without dropping off the road on both sides.
Or widening the street one. That's the only option we got there. So, let's take a look at that. Let's let the architects, and you know, when you talk to them, Keith, after they look at it, if they can design it in such a way that there ends up no need for that, that might solve your concerns and those.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very
Could you not
much.
move, could you not move both of those dumpsters? You've got a 40-foot elevation drop there. Could you not move both of those dumpsters down to where those 3 parking spots are?
Yeah, and at this point, the dumpsters are almost irrelevant. I mean, we'll do what we have to do with the dumpsters.
Right.
And again, making sure that the town has access to be able to get to them,
Sure.
of course. But right now, the key focus is just on the footprint of
So
The
just to be
buildings.
clear, the buildings that are encroaching Puckett Street, are those the ones on Main Street or the one back in the back lot
the main street.
there? Okay.
But they're not shown there, Brad, on the map he's got right now. It doesn't show them encroaching.
And
That's
then,
right. It looks like, this is bigger than the site action.
I understand that. We're just saying that what you presented to us doesn't show them encroaching.
And I'm gonna get you a good overlay to make sure
the
you know.
buildings to the right, where the 4 complexes are, those L-shaped buildings that had a red roof, they've been taken care of, removed.
And I want to make sure I understand.
These L-shaped buildings, right here. They used to be storage.
Used to be, correct.
They've all been taken
Yeah,
down.
it's all
Yes,
gone.
yes.
So see, you don't even have I know we're not putting dumpsters in relevance, but you don't even have a dumpster for that facility
In the back.
in there.
We had gotten some additional funding, and the mandate of the funding was some additional units. So we moved up to a total of 21 units. And we have just laid those in again to show a footprint of where buildings would be. So,
Okay. Thank you, Keith. Both you. Anything else at this time?
Thank you.
Public hearing is closed with no action to be taken this evening. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate it.
You need this back?
I'm gonna get you.
I have a question for the audience. Are y'all hot?
Yes.
That was easy.
I can take it back off.
You fix it, Drew? So let's fix that, okay. All right, we now, hey, John Michael, do we have everybody here?
Yeah,
The
I think so.
agency from
Yes, sir.
Red Cross?
Yes, sir.
Would you please come forward and introduce everyone for us and
Sure will.
explain to us what we're doing tonight? And at the end of this, Sean, can you make sure we've got pictures of everything that's going on tonight, please?
I'm gonna kind of let Barry here take over from Red Cross, and he'll kind of go from there and speak a little bit.
Very good.
We'll move on from there, does that sound good?
Mayor, members of the council, I'm Barry Abramovich with Red Cross. I live here in Lebanon for the last 10 years. I've been partnering with Jess Powers, who in addition to being emergency manager for Russell County, is also the Salvation Army and a Red Cross responder also. And I have with me Sharon Dixon, who is the disaster program manager for the Red Cross of Southwest Virginia at the Bristol office. And we're here tonight to recognize the Lebanon Volunteer Fire Department for their efforts during a fire on Pioneer Drive, which occurred on April 7th, 2019. I know that was 3 years ago, and it's taken a while. We had COVID, we had a merger with the Red Cross office, and we had some other things that delayed us to get this presentation. But during that fire, the fire department made entry into a fully engulfed apartment building and rescued one of the residents. And in order to do that, that doesn't just happen. There was a lot of training, a lot of drills, a lot of experience, years of experience, I imagine, and the confidence that they could do that safely and without harming any of the fire department. And that is what we're doing tonight. We're just recognizing those efforts. And I'd like Chief McCoy and Chief Cook, they were rotating. One was, I think Chief Cook was chief at the time, and Chief McCoy is chief now. And I tell you what, these guys clean up really good. I've never seen them. Usually we see them with soot on their face because they're under fire. So these guys really cleaned up really well. So on behalf of the American Red Cross, and of course Councilman Lambert was part of the crew also, so I'd like to point that out. This is just in appreciation, the American Red Cross Virginia Region, to the Lebanon Volunteer Fire Department in recognition of their valiant and courageous rescue during the Pioneer Drive apartment fire on April 7th, 2019. And signed Sharon Dixon, Disaster Program Manager. And that's,
Thank you very much.
Hey, Gary, should you move that podium out of the way? Because Sean's getting ready to get you all to turn around so we can get you ready.
One thing I do want to say to the council and stuff too, with firemen here and our families here, you all, before we thank them for what they do, the time and effort they put into it, makes a lot. And Barry's always there, as soon as the drop of the hat, we call, displaced families, anything we need, they're great. Sharon, we know you work with Barry real well, and anytime you call Jess in Russell County, he's there. Unless he's in Richmond, he's there. So, we thank you all. So we thank you all very much.
I'd like to say this, Joe Michael, and I'm sure council might, just so the members of the Red Cross will know, this is not an isolated event with our fire department. They're committed to taking care of our citizens here and outside of town. They're very helpful to their colleagues. They're very well, they work on keeping trained and up to date, and Jess has, I'm sure, helped over the years. But what you've recognized here, in my opinion, we've seen it, they're very capable and very committed to what they do as volunteers, and we're extremely proud that you recognize them, and we're proud of them for what they do for us every day, 24/7. So thank you all.
Barry, you want a picture?
Yeah, if y'all could come this way, and then Sean will direct us. Sean will tell us.
Can't see Deanna or Mary. I see Mary now. Move this way, Deanna.
This should get close to it, ladies.
Now, let me say this. Last time I've done group pictures, Doyle and Mary have been on altering blinkings. So one of y'all, every picture I take, so y'all get together and figure out what you're supposed to do.
Hang on, any family members need pictures that are here? Or did y'all get what you needed?
I'll take one for the group.
Your boss.
Okay.
Let's give our fire department a little
I'd like to say one thing.
Sure, Jess, go ahead. Hang on, guys.
With our fire department members, they're all volunteers. And if you look at the number of hours of training that is required by the volunteers, firefighter 1 is how many hours? 28. Firefighter 2. And then the hazmat, that's about 32. Look at the hours that they commit of their time to protect the residents of Russell County, Lebanon. Every time I've needed them, they've always been there. We've had large incidents recently. We've had 25 fires this year. And most of these members have been on that fire.
That's a fact.
And it's hard to get volunteers. So I appreciate all of our volunteers and the hard work and the training that they commit for our community.
Thank you. We agree. Thank you all, guys.
Mayor, I'd like to add something. also.
Sure, Brad.
Just to add to what Jess says, these gentlemen and several more gentlemen apply countless hours to our town, our county, and it's recognized so far that we're now helping our state along with other people. I'm honored to be a part of that. I've got 9 years with you. We've got newer guys, older guys, and we're all brothers. There has been some instances happen recently for our department where questions have made upon integrity of the department and other issues, and either made motion of maybe a mockery of the department. And I want you to know that the majority of this council supports you. I support you through the fullest. I'll fight tooth and nail for you. I'll fight hell with a water pistol with you. There's a majority on this council that supports our department, our employees, and our citizens. And that's all you need. You don't need nobody else. So I love you. The citizens love you. We'll make it.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you all.
Oh, right, you go. Hey. I started it. Get a picture.
Okay, we're down to new business. Again, the first item there is electric vehicle charging station. Drew, do you have, or I guess, is there a council member that wishes to address this? That brought this up, Drew? How did this end up on the agenda?
Electric vehicle charging station? I don't know anything about it. Am I losing it?
Yeah.
Oh, she told me to add it.
Go ahead, Drew.
We just looked in, somebody was, Diane was told.
Yeah, I think I did now, yeah. No, I just,
See, it's because it's too hot in there.
well, I should have followed up on it by now, but I think there's funding coming down the pipelines. You know, with the federal infrastructure bill, can't think of the name of the act. You know, they started with water and sewer projects, and I think this was just released like 90 billion or something for electric vehicle charging stations. So I just wanted to turn Drew loose, maybe with Shane's help, and you know, to pursue those any funding that we see and see what the possibilities are from a town standpoint, to see what we're eligible for. And I'm sure it starts with contacting our local planning district and going from there. So I remember now, Diane.
We did look into a couple of towns and called to see if they had, right now, maybe once this funding comes, it may change. Right now, it's mostly businesses that are looking into doing it, instead of actual municipalities and parks and that kind of stuff. And so there's two really main businesses that go in, that charge so much per hour to set those up. And most of them are at convenience stores or grocery stores or something where you're going to be in there for a while. But we did talk with Ernie, and Ernie had someone interested a while back with IDA. So he's looking, next time they meet, to talk to Food City too. If they could be interested in us, IDA and Food City playing together to look into it. The only thing that's probably going to get tricky with the funding side of it is if we charge for it, as far as making money off money with that.
Okay. Anything else on this one? Before we move on, Bo, did you need to talk to us any more, you know, other than Puckett Street issue, abandoned?
No,
Okay.
no.
We have Randy Burke, is on the list. We're still in public request. Randy?
Yeah, I don't get no request. Well, I guess I do. I cooked for about 4 people tonight. They're all out at that meeting. trying to get some tax money
All
back.
the board
Yeah,
supervisors.
everybody's bullshit, so they said, here, go ask this and go ask that. But before I ask, we just wanted to thank y'all again for the Mark Marrow thing. Mary and Deanna came out. I think they were blessed by being there. The school for Mark, when we took him to Homeacre first, when we left Homeacre, that quick, he started getting responses from the kids. And he answered them the whole time we were setting Lebanon up. After we got through Lebanon, we went out and eat, he'd scarf his food down and get back on the phone. And you'd hear him, you're beautiful, you're worth more than that. He would be talking to the kids, you know, just dictate his message or whatever. There's some stuff going on in this county with kids. I mean, there really is. I want to read you just a couple of the notes that he got. Try to skip names. The story you told us today really touched my heart. My dad struggles with drinking and ended up spending some time in jail last December. Heard you talk about how you overcame it truly inspired me even more to stay away from the things that go on in our schools. Your story made, I found myself again, me appreciate my family more than I did already. I truly so grateful for you coming to visit our small school in some random small town in the corner of Virginia. You have changed many lives of the people who were sitting in that auditorium as well as mine. Come back and see us soon. And one feller said, hey man, I was at the meeting at Lebanon High School and it made me really inspirational. It was really inspirational and hit me hard because my grandfather died of cancer when I was 10. So I know it's not as bad as yours, but it hit hard because he taught me how to play baseball. And I'm going on my 11th season. Hopefully I'll make it to the National Baseball League. But thanks so much for coming to our school. And it's just one after another. Had one that said, you give me hope to get out of this neighborhood. My neighborhood is infested with drugs. And you give us hope to get out. One girl talked about overdosing and killing or threatening to kill herself or trying suicide. And she said, I was back to that point.
Reached your goal, didn't you?
We
Hit
did.
your goal?
We got what we wanted.
That's right.
And I mean, it's awesome. And I just think y'all will be back. I mean, we will be back. The school has already told us whatever y'all want to do, y'all can do. Because Miss Hoover went up and watched it with the middle school and she loved it. And all the principals were real good on it. And you know, we're trying to figure out what we can do to keep helping them. I just found out a minute ago, they got $219,000 more of opioid money this month, other than the 49 they were already getting. They need to set aside, if y'all got any connections out there, because them people don't like me. Trust me, y'all like me, I hope they don't like me. We need some of that money, not us. We need to keep that money. It don't need to be a park bench in the middle of town. It don't be in Alonzo's slush fund. It needs to be earmarked for prevention of drug abuse in this town and county. Well, it's county, that's what we gotta get to.
Just having somebody, thank you, just having somebody that the kids identify with and you could see that connection. That auditorium was full because those kids were bringing their parents back. And and he was able to talk about his faith and able to talk about where he has come. And he did it and the kids were there to hear it and they brought the parents. I think he made such an awesome connection. Having something like that every year is gonna change this county.
There was the little guy sitting down in front of y'all, he's a high schooler, he recorded every minute of it on his phone. I don't know if he went live or what, but he recorded every minute of it. There was not one middle schooler, maybe that's what we should have hit the middle schoolers too. When we went to the middle school, there was not one middle schooler that did not go talk to me. Not one. I mean, I sat and watched them, every one of them were going to talk, and they hooped and they hollered when he was showing his video of Ray wrestling and stuff. I mean, they loved it. And we gotta do something. We need something in this town. That's gonna be good for that money. We gotta get something in this town. You know, I talked to a guy the other day, and I'm not knocking y'all in any way. He said, well, we got a movie theater coming. I said, no, you don't. It's not gonna be a movie theater. You can show a movie in there, but it's not a theater. We don't have anything. He said, we need a skating rink. Remember we had a a skating rink, and 2 or 3 of the county laws at that time could build on the tip corner of them, so we don't have a skating rink anymore. We gotta get something in this town. We gotta do something for our kids. What have they got? They can't even ride through town without getting pulled over if they can move too many times. That's all we ever did was ride back and forth through town. Now they just congregate at Walmart. You know, out of minds, you know, get around the wrong people. Like Mark said, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You get around them, you're gonna start doing stuff. I'm a witness to that, I did it. I'm trying to keep all these from doing it. We stopped one, but that's good. All right, so that was the good news. Now I'll throw some bad news on you. One, to rent the, back here, one of the conference rooms. What's the, for the, I don't know what would be said, the procedure or the cost on that? Has somebody rented it for an hour, for whatever, 3 or 4 hours, and they called and said, hey, can we get it for an extra hour or so? Just, nobody else was in there, just to go in and decorate, and got charged $30 more to go in and decorate.
If it's not for profit, that money goes back.
That's what?
If it's not for a profit group.
No, it wasn't profit. I think, well, it
Well,
was
sure,
my retirement party.
It's a deposit, isn't it?
$50 for 4 hours.
It was
For 4
$50,
hours.
and then they charged 30 more because she called and asked to go in early. And we weren't in there 2 hours when we were in there. My wife let me on that one. But it was,
Do you have a date on that?
September 2nd, probably. I think it was a Friday night. Yeah, it was, because there was a football game going over.
Yes,
That's
September
the day that that boy wrecked that four-wheeler down there below the school, because they ironcladded him in while we were standing out there.
September 2nd.
September 2nd.
Was it a group that went in, was it,
But my wife went and rented it.
but I mean, was it for a function?
His retirement party.
My retirement
Your
party.
retirement?
Yeah, I went with y'all all the time.
That's all right.
No wonder they overcharged the mayor.
Yeah. See what happened?
I quit with y'all all the time now.
Go ahead.
And you were. and
We
you
were
in
charged
there
50.
what was the total amount of time that you were there?
3 hours maybe. 2 the first, in the one time, and they may have been there, they didn't do that much decorating. They just put a few signs up.
Mayor, let's refund the decorating.
Yeah.
Please. Yes.
But I mean, I don't want it just for us, for everybody, nobody.
Well, as always, but I mean, you were within the time frame, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we
So
were at
that,
the time frame.
yeah, Drew, just take care of that, please.
But, you know, I think it needs to be the same with everybody. I don't want special
I understand.
treatment.
You're not.
I don't want, and this one's probably.
Happy retirement.
Uh,
Happy retirement.
Thank you. If I ever get to it, I'll do it.
You won't. No, go ahead.
I got something going on now anyway, I can't still wait, so it's all my retirement is sweet. This one probably won't upset you. I was asked to find out, could we find out how much the bank that Lebanon had in the bank 5 years ago and what we've got in the bank this year, or now?
Why would that upset us?
Well, I
Are
don't
you
know.
asking for that information?
I'm asking for that information.
Dan, can you provide that to this gentleman?
I can come by and get it this week, but I'm just gonna have it on hand right now.
That's, that's.
I figured it would be
Anybody
public
could get
information.
Yeah, it is.
Uh,
Just, I don't know how many, just see the, just come out and see Diane.
I will, I'll stop out this week.
Okay.
Well, I figured, ain't accusing nobody of nothing, they just wanted to know how we said 5 years ago versus how we said now. What you're doing is going back to the election before. I think what it is, the election, when all y'all made it to the part of what we're going on now.
Should we went to go a long way back on there.
I know, y'all, old as her.
I don't know. I'm old.
They still use British pounds back
Yeah, I think today the peso ain't worth much. But I appreciate it, appreciate what y'all do, we'll be back to see you, and I'll be here every month just to smile at you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Lions Club has contacted us, we need to decide on the parade thing, the parade marshal Christmas parade, which is the first Monday in December, which will be December the 5th at 6 o'clock. I think we were ask about that. I don't know if y'all had time to think about it or not. What about has anybody got any thoughts for the parade, Christmas parade thing?
I Diane do a sheet, and everybody should have it.
Which stack is it in?
Looks like a career man.
Is it in the stack that we came in here today?
Right.
I'll look at it with you instead of going through here.
Yeah.
Mr. Jackson, we usually start with you on this every year, so.
Usually start with it or finish with it.
That's usually what we do, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go with, start with you.
Okay, I like patriotic Christmas, but now we have problems with, taking Christ out of Christmas. So I think we need to use one of them with Christmas in the theme.
Yep.
Christmas around the world, Christmas past and present, Christmas stories, Christmas memories.
I'm offended if you take it out, just so you know, I'll be offended if you take
Pardon?
Christ out. I'll be offended if they take Christ
You're not
out.
by yourself, Irene.
No, that's what we, that's
Well,
what,
I'm just getting it started before we can say
well, that's
somebody's
what I just
offended.
said.
That's what she just said.
Deanna,
They're
did you
offended for
say
everything else.
celebrating the spirit of Christmas?
She did not,
But this,
No, yeah,
but I'd
Yeah,
like to
the ones
scratch,
with
I'd like to
Christmas.
scratch Christmas around the world. There's my input again.
you like it?
I don't
Christmas
like
around the
that.
world.
I think there's only 6 that have Christmas in it.
Celebrating the spirit of Christmas.
It's Christmas past and present for me.
That's a good one.
I think that would be good, and that would give them
It
people
gives
a
you-
different.
2 ways to work it.
Scenarios.
Yeah, 2 scenarios. Oh,
I'm fine,
Christmas past and present, Scott?
What did Deanna say?
It's Christmas past and present.
All right, I'm good with that.
Mary? Oh, Brad?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you already said it. Elijah?
Yes, sir, I'm fine with it.
Okay, you got that, Miss Diane?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank
If we're
you.
gonna do that theme, can we do anything different that you all can think of? Like, could we maybe invite people to put their antique cars in it or something like that? Or, does that not make sense? What can we do? Who can we invite?
Antique cars and then side-by-sides and golf carts.
No, that's not till July 4th.
Past and present.
Yeah, together,
We need
side by
somebody,
side.
we need
July 4th.
somebody with a horse-drawn buggy.
Don't be stealing my idea.
We need a, that's a
We get the
good
Clydes-
idea.
We get the Clydesdale bunch here from
Yeah.
Budweiser.
Yeah, let's try to do something. What can we do? That's a good idea.
Budweiser horses, Clydesdale.
Can we put an old fire truck in it? Can we put old, anything, what can we do past wise?
You know that,
Anybody from other towns got old fire trucks or any other, if we don't wanna do,
is the one that we've got, any of the ones encased operable, Brandon?
you have to pull that.
With the side.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Pull it with the side.
there's I saw, I believe Sheila Adams has those horses, those big
Yeah.
horses that had a carriage that she drive, you remember? that?
Yeah, a carriage and a
And
horses and
that
carriage,
would be-
who
that would
would
be
be
great
nice?
if we could get her to bring that and decorate those horses like she's, I've seen how she braids them. And that might be something to bring to past and present.
It won't be free.
Well, that won't be free. Well, I'm sure Clydesdales would be free, but I bet this would be a lot cheaper than a Clydesdales. So let's do this. Let's pass any thoughts on to Miss Jackson. Is everybody good with doing that? Emailing her or texting her? Because she will read her texts.
Can I pass something?
Are you
send them to her.
Just get,
Well, give us one right now.
yeah, if you got it.
Oh, I ain't gonna spoil it.
Just give us
It's a
one.
surprise.
No.
Me and Deanna.
And you can watch my facial expression and know where I'm at.
Okay. You got ideas for past and present?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, once you all have had a chance to talk, would you share that with us, Ms. Jackson? Thank you. Okay, we need a parade marshal. Any nominees?
I do.
Ms. Jackson?
I nominate Doyle Fields.
No, mine.
Second.
We have a motion.
No, ma'am.
We have a motion and a second on the floor.
Eddie Hall.
Any?
No, I don't know.
Oh, election time, buddy. Watch what you're
I
doing.
don't love to do
It'll be
Get
after the
nine of
election.
them, no,
it.
ma'am.
So it'll be
No,
after
you
the
can ride in
election.
the horse and buggy.
So Doyle's saying, Doyle,
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
That would be an honor.
it is an honor for you to do that. Yeah. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Dole.
Huh?
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Mr. Fields.
Thank you.
Past and present.
Yeah, I appreciate both ways. You know, tell her to dress you up both ways.
I'm past my wife. I'm president.
Well, how's he gonna do Santa Claus and be the parade marshal?
Well,
That's
I
what
don't know.
Tate said, said he could be Santa Claus too.
Oh,
Got to run.
You just have to run back. Since you're the lead
Hurry
dog,
takes
it's
care of
right.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Police can take you to the fire truck at the end.
We'll have Santa Claus.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. 2023 Cedar Fest discussion. If you would, if you have any thoughts on those tonight, give them, or just throw them out.
49 Winchester. I've already thrown that one out, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, they're tough to get. I understand they may be hitting the big time with Luke Combs.
You won't get them now, it's a big time too
But
quick.
who else?
Yeah.
We can get them, Angie?
Yeah. You gotta work really hard.
You gotta have a big meal for them too, don't you?
You can do it.
I'd like for us, I thought using our local, some of the local groups that we did last year, I think it's a good thing, which is what we're trying to do, to keep doing, to allow our local community the opportunity to participate. I thought we did well with the group out of Hazel. You remember their name? It was, Ed Young played in their band. It's the old time rock and roll band. I'd see him, but I don't know the name. And then we had, I think, another Lebanon Steel Cooking was here for the 4th. Did a great job, which is a Lebanon resident. We've got some local bluegrass. Torn Rhythm, that's the name of them. Thought they did a great job too. Names that I have heard already are the Beach Party. I've heard names of the Embers. That's one name I've heard. Y'all may have others. For the weekend, by the way, which will
The
be
weekend.
the weekend of June. The Cedar Fest is the 9th and 10th this year of June. 9th and 10th. Aaron Bostic, the Sam White Gospel event is Saturday before Cedar Fest, the 3rd. Then, of course, July the 4th, and the corresponding date for the beach party is August the 12th. So, heard names such as Dina Carter, Ben Haggard, Merle Haggard's, one of Merle Haggard's sons.
Couldn't get Merle Haggard, could you?
Not without a help from above.
What about Credence Revisited? What?
That's
we-
what,
Did we try that before? Did we put it in our budget or was it not available?
No, went south because they weren't, we were told that they was one original member, he quit.
Okay.
So it's, there no more?
No, they've kind of split up.
The
There's
Fogarty guy was outrageous.
yeah, there's
Toward the end.
there's tribute bands out there that are really popular. There's one with the Eagles, and I can't remember the name of it. That has won some national awards. There are another tribute band. We tried Credence, like you said, we couldn't. That didn't go good. That whole thing fell apart. And we need to think about, are we still gonna do our Bluegrass Friday on Friday night, our local, which we do have local talent for that. Go ahead.
I agree
Okay.
to do that. I think if birds could fly, I think they need to be later in the show, because there's a lot of people that really like that performance.
Yeah,
A lot
we're more of an indie type of group, indie music. Yeah, she did, that's a husband wife. They were really,
They do a great job.
yeah. Well, we won't be able to afford Parley anymore.
They were good.
Well, they were great. I mean, they came into town
My daughter said they were good.
when their song went #1 that day.
Native.
And they, you know, they've hit the big time, as we say, too.
They play all the time.
So, just give some thoughts. We, what we have, the bookings out of Nashville and nationwide, or those managers as before, they meet this month. So, if you all could, if you would, just text me any names that you'd like to see who's available. We need to think what we want to do on the 4th. We had a great show there last year. So if you could send those to me, so I can reach out to the managers and see what is available out there. I'd like to be able to have those this week, because we're going to have to meet again after tonight, probably on the 26th of this month, for the purposes of making a decision on the final bids for the completion of the theater. Randy, I need to talk to you later and explain that theater to you. I think I help give you a little more info, okay?
26.
The 26th.
25th.
Let's do it on,
No,
that's
we
a
gotta do it
Wednesday
on
night, let's
Tuesday.
do it 25th, 27th.
I'm sorry, the 25th, thank you, Mary. 25th. So, what I'm asking is if you can send me suggestions or thoughts before this week's out, that'll give us 2 weeks to find availability and cost
For Cedar Fest, the beach party.
for all 3 of them.
July.
Yep. And do we know where we stand on the Thanksgiving community,
I need to meet.
the Thanksgiving community dinner? It's at Lebanon High.
I don't think we really talked about it, but we've done it so much. We
We're
can do
gonna be
it.
good. I just need to talk with you. I'll come back.
When's the date is what I'm like, I've forgotten the date. Is it Thanksgiving
Yeah.
Day,
It's on Thanksgiving.
like it was? What was it, you know, we need to continue to do that
I
event
told Cheyenne
Everybody
she's good to go.
for our community. You know, that needs to be a
Cheyenne
constant.
had called and left a message today that I think she's already spoke with Lebanon High School, the ladies there,
Okay.
and Reinhardt Foods, and
Yep.
Cheyenne called you tonight,
She's on.
she said she's good to go.
Good deal. Okay, everybody good? All right, thank you. This time, we will call a 10-minute break. Floor is yours.
Thank you all. First thing I have for my manager's report this month is let you know about a Ready, Set, Go grant with VDOT. It's a program for populations that are under 50,000 and 50,000 people, non-metropolitan areas. These funds are for a alternative transportation project. So I've chosen to apply, we talked before, it was on the list before, we're going to apply for the sidewalk at Technology Park Drive. For that, the deadline on it is coming up. It's a small application. We're trying to get a survey out for the townhouses down there, how many people would use that. We're going to talk to gymnastics and the gym and also Appalachian Soccer Association. That way we can get all that data from those people.
I would.
You don't include, I'd include CGI in that too,
Yeah.
because their staff uses.
We're working on getting that one submitted, and I'll update you as that goes. As far as the committee meetings go, if we could do that, when we do the adjourn to reconvene, if everyone will be there, that's a possibility to do that.
What do you
on
need?
October 25th.
Who do you need to meet?
Two that I would need would be streets and water and wastewater.
To discuss,
Did you say October 25th?
That's when we're going to,
Yes,
that's
sir.
right now, it's looking when we're going to reconvene.
I'll be out there.
We'll be out of town.
21st to the 22nd.
just water now,
I'm sorry.
would it be just water, wastewater, or would it be streets? With the lights right now.
Streets is number one, worldwide equipment. We'd like to come by with their pros and cons and their brochure, and Craig would also like to talk with you about their program and to make sure that everyone realizes it's not a lease program, and maybe even discuss just the purchasing first before you even talk about the rotation plan.
How long would he need?
I'd say if you give them somewhere around 30 to 45 minutes. 30 minutes?
I'd say 20 minutes, and we'll ask some questions.
How many questions are you going to ask?
That's the thing, why would we not want to ask questions?
Don't be rapping for 3 minutes to the
We're talking, we're not counting the question and answer section.
I mean, is this, let me ask it this way. Is this something that we need to do now, or could we have a committee meeting prior to the November meeting?
Well, like you said,
He's-
last time he was
He's
here.
gone all week. That week. Are you going all week?
I'll be gone, the 21st was a Friday, and I'll be coming back the 26th, which is a Monday. I mean, a Wednesday.
Yeah, let's do streets before, if you wanna be here, let's do streets before, or do you have to, you need to do it?
Then you reconvene on the 26th.
Well, no, we don't even have to have it set up around a reconvene meeting. You follow? We don't, in other words, we could have a committee meeting next week
That's fine. We'll do it.
instead of,
Yeah, I was just trying to
Put it
get
around.
one day where everybody's gonna be here.
we just like to meet with you, just keep it short.
That's fine. They,
So when are you leaving, 21st?
Yes, sir.
What's your work schedule, Mr. Gilmer?
25th, I'm available.
He's gone. I'm talking about-
Well, I thought that's when we're opening the bids for the.
Well, we're gonna have a regular council, we're not, we need, if we're gonna have a streets committee before the November meeting,
Well, then do it when Elijah's available.
that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get at. That's
I don't know
why-
if I'm available to meet again.
You don't know your work schedule for the week of the 17th. 17th, 18th, 19th, or 20th.
Wednesdays are out, correct? With church,
Yes, they would be out from you.
They're out.
and the 17th, I can meet the 17th.
That's better than the 20th.
What's the earliest, you think 5 o'clock?
yeah, it's fine.
So means the
Everybody-
council members, the committee, can you all meet at 5 o'clock?
This is what, two committees, Drew?
Streets and, water, wastewater.
Sunday,
A week from, the committee meeting will be a week from today, correct?
the 18th.
I'm looking at the wrong month, Tony. I
Uh,
apologize.
I just thought it was Monday, I'm sorry, I
Okay.
forgot it was
He's
closed.
looking at, Scott's looking at the wrong month.
Sorry, Tony.
All right, go, let's let you look it up. That's, next week, what's your work schedule available?
The 20th, is that right? Is that the Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
did you say no on the 20th?
Well, get ready to go hunting for 6 days. I'd rather not meet the day before. But we can do it. It's better than, I mean,
Well, the night, The 19th is off, was a church. I mean, I don't have to be there.
Can we communicate with you after the committee meeting? Because there won't be any action taken. This is informational, correct?
Yeah, but being on the finance committee, you need to be there because we're talking about a truck.
Well, I'll just try to get off. Just do whatever days, and I'll just try to get the evening covered. Whatever day works.
You say 17.
Whatever day works for the chairs. What's on the agenda for water, wastewater? Just looking at the,
Looking at different routes for funding for the Lane Group, plus they've applied for 2 or 3 other grants, basically just getting on the same page of what applications we got out there, what the status is of the DEQ on sketching stuff on.
And we need to talk about replacing some equipment. There is some equipment that Chris has said that probably we need to look at replacing.
So we take action on that equipment tonight?
No, I would rather do that, to have Chris here.
Okay.
Can we, so let's shoot for next Monday at 5 o'clock, please. Scott, I know I'm putting a little heat on you
that's
there.
all right.
I kind of like it.
All right. Do it when's good for the mayor, not good for the councilman.
Have a good time.
5 o'clock. Let's see, Diane, you got that, and you can post it for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you'll get up with your group? Okay. You might as well tell them it's a one-shot deal.
I'll let them know.
Okay, go ahead.
Eddie Shelton first, I talked with him, he'll be coming to town, November 16th, to the annual playground inspection that we talked about. So we can get this orange tape and cones and everything taken out of the way. So basically what he does is he inspects it from a versus standpoint, points out any signs of non-compliance or negligence, and if there is any, he tells us how to fix it, so first we'll cover it. And that'd be, earliest they could get here was November 16th. We talked a little bit about the status of the Leo study. Fire department study is kind of the same situation. Called this last week to get an update from Garrett Dyer on that, and now he's left the department. So Brad Creasy is our contact.
That does sound like a good job. So both of them?
It's reappointed by the governor. So
Oh,
it was reappointed.
okay.
It's basically a 4-year thing where they're reappointed. That's where, and he basically said the last time Travis Rickman came to fire study, that it wasn't done correctly anyway. That he came solo because they were having some trouble with the board, but this time the entire board should be coming to do the study. But he should have some more information back to me this week.
Okay. Probably.
Broadband updates, talking to Joe Puckett, they are starting their underground and aerial work. Kevin, actually I need to get with you to draw up an amendment to that contract to, in case they hit any of our water lines while doing the underground. We're going to give Billy and add the underground and then no road cuts on that. But anyways, they started their underground construction, aerial construction. Verizon's giving them a tough time to deal. They have a 30 days clause where they can hold them for 30 days to before they're allowed to do anything. So they're waiting on Verizon, but he said construction should be complete December 31st, the entire project, but people would be able to hook on as the construction goes
As
through.
it goes?
Starting when?
I'm guessing, like I said, they're doing the backbone right now, so I'd say when they come back through, the contractors are doing it, so they're, I'd say we probably need to get some kind of public announcement ready when people are.
Where are they starting? I mean, when would they get to us?
Neighbor has
Now?
Yeah.
signed up this week.
It's close. It depends on the available, if they have their lines set already. And that, the way you do that is go online and try to, if you want it, what I did is
Just type your address in.
just type your address in, and they'll ask you your physical address, and they'll tell you if it's available at your site, or if it's not available, approximately when it will be.
So long story short, he's still confident the entire town will be hooked up by December 31st.
Yeah, that brings up, I appreciate your report on that, Drew. I had talked to him, I've had some citizens, and you've answered his questions, they wanted to know, with the project that we've done, if citizens within the corporate limits of Lebanon and the bordering would be available, will they have the opportunity to hook on to point broadband?
Yes, once they're done with their construction, every single resident in the town will
Within
have
the
access.
footprint here?
It'd be a lot better than any of these others, like,
It's fiber optic, yeah,
We'll
no,
talk about quick, and it's quick.
yeah, no other company can offer fiber optics right now.
we're all for that.
Aaron, to add to that, Drew, before you move on, Aaron Morrison reached out to me with Quanta Services, that's a contractor for Point Broadband. He's actually gonna try to come here tonight. He wants this bill to go clean, quick, and efficient. He's gonna leave a contact list. Should anybody have any complaints or construction-related issues, that way he can resolve that quickly. But he was wanting to come introduce himself and actually give the council and you an update on what his plans are and how he plans on moving forward.
Does that contract company have the entire project, you know?
They do. They are the sub of Point, and then Quanta subs out the rest.
Gotcha.
I like your idea of a public announcement, Drew. Maybe that's something you all can coordinate with this gentleman and Joseph. When it would be appropriate to make such an announcement.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know, but I like that idea. We can post it on our webpage, in the papers. You know, we talk to Sean, and get everybody information out to our citizens.
Our street sweeper hopper has been ordered, and Billy checked on it Thursday, and it's 3 weeks out. So it said 20-25 days from order date, delivery. I guess they're off for a few days, but they said it's 3 weeks out for them. Be here for 3 weeks, not shipping 3 weeks out, be here in 3 weeks. We
Like
looked
3 weeks
from last Thursday.
well, so we should have it by the end of the month.
Should have it by the end of the month.
Probably then we'll get it then.
We're still going to have some guys get out with the blowers and that kind of thing, sweep up the gutter pans for the parade on Friday, so we'll still get it cleaned up. We had our bid opening, our bid conference today for the Face Group Theater. We met with the Lane Group, Cumberland Plateau, and all the interested contractors and bidders this morning. And those sealed bids are due October 21st at 10 a.m., or they'll be opened and ready. 25th, sorry.
25th.
October 25th, 10 a.m.
Did we solicit the SRO on that, Tony? As well, where he showed interest?
No. Mm-mm.
And then the last thing that I had was Nathan Brown's two projects, the Veterans Park and the bridge. Nathan had planned to be here. He thought it was yesterday. He went out of town this morning. So he couldn't be here. He said if he needs any questions asked, he'd be fine. If you put on speakerphone, you can talk to him. If not, the quotes for the Veterans Park are in the packet. And then also I printed out that email that I attached to my manager report last week with the bridge concepts.
When we had that committee meeting, when we went to the Veterans Park,
Yes.
the council, the committee directed Drew to do, he's obtained these bids, and we need to act on these bids for that project at the Veterans Park. Now, one of them was changed. Did he drop it? One of the I see
The
that.
Davis Brothers was
Yeah.
changed. If you look at the Nathan's first page, it has all 4 quotes there.
Yeah,
If you look down at the bottom, where it says reduce caliper size on the maple trees and also reduce the height of the hawthorns, that second quote from Davis Brothers has these plant sizes changed to the smaller ones. Now that was cheaper.
so that means his bid went to 11,450, is that right?
It did with the changes to the size of the plants. We have, in the 11,450, it offers the 2-inch on the 5 autumn maples, and then 8 foot, the hawthorns go from 10 foot to 8 foot.
Mayor, I'd like to stick what was originally bid.
Okay,
We had originally talked about a $12,500 budget. Part of that coming from the veterans account, but the town covering the rest of that. That excluded, I believe, the architectural fees from Nathan Brown. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Davis Brother Nursery quote for $12,950 for the Veterans Memorial Park improvements.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Drew.
Easy enough. You want to look at the bridge concepts there?
Well, we can, I would see here they range from 12 to 80. It's pretty big, it's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, basically, and also this, the 12,000 that it shows for the aluminum box culvert,
Yeah,
that's just 12,000 for
the unit, yeah.
the metal culvert that's going to run. Everything on the sides and everything else would be, have to be done by us.
Drew, I was gonna ask you something. I think we looked at it down there one day, and this is just a thought. For temporary, if you're at the parking lot, at the old mill park, and let's say you park there in the evening to come eat at the restaurant. Until we can get a handle on what we want to do on a bridge or whatever, is there enough room there to walk out of that parking lot and expand that sidewalk the width there on the right of way to the restaurant parking lot?
To the parking lot?
One parking lot, walk on the sidewalk and come to the,
Yeah, that's what.
Like a U-turn, Tony, like coming out
let's say you
down
come
one
out,
and just right back into
yeah,
the
you
other.
come out, you park your
Just
car
around that
around
culvert that's there.
that culvert and put a sidewalk there temporarily until, I mean, for me, this is a pretty big number. That's just me, right?
I think that's a good idea and a reasonable alternative, at this point. And I think, I stopped by and Billy and we're looking at, they wasn't able to put, I think Nathan looked at maybe put a sidewalk up Russell, but with the heat bumps and that sort of thing. But I think Elijah, we need to look at putting markings on Russell too, once we do construction inside the courthouse, to make sure that we know, I mean, there's no markings on Russell, I know of, besides maybe a center line, so I think it's important to get that marked once the construction's complete, for that pedestrian traffic
And
that the mayor's talking about.
they're changing that too, yeah.
Do we have good lighting there
Do.
for the walk?
On Russell, yeah, there's a lot
I
of
mean,
that.
where they be walking?
Yeah, that, and I would imagine the old mill's going to be lit up as well. But yeah, you have a park, just that parking lot.
And there's a street light there
Street lights,
at the
yeah.
Southern States.
That's a fairly narrow road right there too, isn't it, Drew?
It is.
There's not a bunch of room to pass, 2 trucks to pass each other. I mean, 2 passenger cars, you'd probably be okay, but we want to make sure that.
Talking about Russell? It seems like it narrows too further it goes.
It's pretty wide, because I looked down the other day, coming down the courthouse, and it actually expands on the old mill side. So even if the lines were what they were down by the courthouse hill, it leaves you, I mean, maybe 3 to 4 feet
before it gets to that sharp, it kind of narrows down before it gets to that sharp curve with that opening there.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think once the road's marked, you'd really be able to see
Yeah.
how much room we do have.
I mean, is that agreeable with y'all to look at temporarily, putting just a sidewalk curve there, Drew, instead of?
It is, yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, honestly, we actually measured the entire length from the Old Mill Park to the front of the Old Mill.
Yeah, you know, we see how things go, and
And
in
it
our
was
budget year, we can.
Concrete wise, that was 3,000.
Do we, Mayor, we don't have an existing sidewalk at all in the Old Mill Park, as far as right there where those spots are. So my question is, would you want to do a sidewalk at ground level instead of raised through there, instead of a raised sidewalk, Drew? Would that, I mean, it seems like that would make more sense as a designated walking area, I mean, than putting a raised sidewalk. Because essentially you're gonna go up, Tony, and come around and go back down. So would it be better just to have, just to pour the concrete at ground level and have that designated walk area?
Well, Robbie can fix it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying, look at it both ways, Drew.
Right. I'm trouble seeing what you're talking
I
about.
don't understand what you're talking about either.
So you come out of Old Mill,
Mm-hmm.
we build a sidewalk, which will be normally, what, 5 to 6 inches up off the road? Higher than the road, then you're coming into the Kirkland's
I
parking
see what
lot.
you're saying. Now, if you do, you probably just have to look at the drainage issue.
That's what I think that there's a drop inlet right there too, was there not?
There's a culvert that dropping.
It just seems,
Come to-
it seems like, I mean, you know, you could,
Right.
If you just eyeball it.
just what, I mean, I'm just saying, look at it both ways.
No problem.
Okay,
That's all I have tonight, unless there's any questions. I do have, on your stations, there are the quotes that Bo got back to us with for the police radios.
but that's gonna take a
I'll
discussion.
say that's, I wouldn't,
We're not
she
gonna-
talked a little bit about that, and he didn't quite simplify it as much as what we thought.
That's what I was gonna ask, we probably, I really like, first of all, first place to start, is because you were in the same meeting, I'd like you and Eric to take those quotes and narrow it to exactly what you need. What I do know is that the handheld radio itself, the county will buy.
Yeah,
But the other stuff, I have no idea about the bells and whistles, okay?
I mean, and when I talked to Bo, I said, you gotta tone this down for me. I said, you give me what we need to be comparable with the county, but we don't need the latest and the greatest, we just need to be functional and comparable. I called him before I came in, and he said that the 3 quotes that we have is what we have to be functional. That's all, he says, and then he was telling me to take out the 16,000 for the radios, that the county was.
Well, now, there's certain things he said that we didn't have to have, like chargers. I'm talking about
The extra
taking a good look at each item, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Are we looking to, Eric, to do portables and in the car, or just portables? I mean, like, did he look at it both ways, like you were planning on looking at it before too?
The way he explained it to me was that it was kind of, if we don't do the whole package, it's kind of just like we're upgrading to a better radio than we have, but we're not getting the full digital capacity. Because in order to operate digital radio, we have to have the repeater in the car for it to bounce off.
Okay.
Put it in there. So he said if we went with just the portables, we basically just get a nicer radio, but have the same function we have with ours.
And moving forward, he did say that quote, Drew, is good for 90 days. Okay,
So we also have Stephanie working on the RDA.
Okay.
$50,000.
all right, that's 50,000.
So you want me to take this to Bo and say, is there anything on here we do not specifically have to have?
Not just you, I'd like for Drew to be with
Right.
me, because we were in the meeting too,
Yeah.
when he came.
Yeah.
The first thing needs to happen is I think you and Drew need to sit down and just ask those questions to yourself. Do we have to have this pack? Do we have to have this?
The problem I have is I don't know
I'll
what
say
most
it's
of
probably,
it is.
we don't know what any of that is.
Well, I got a question too. We're talking about the PD has to have repeaters in the car, well, the county's buying digital handhelds for the fire department. Is that
But it's a different system. It's not the same, the repeater system, I understand is different in the fire trucks than it is, because I think that Brad helped me out, John Michael said y'all ended up buying,
They got the 40.
they got the county, then we ended up, somehow they let us get, I don't know the brand name of the other radio.
There is a different brand
Yeah,
that you could get.
yeah, so anyway,
I have no idea.
well, I just think at this point, we know it's good for 90 days. It gives us a chance to get through this grant process with up to $50,000 in money, which would go tremendous. We know it's 16 or 17. You can get
16,790.
So,
is what we lost.
so there we go. So we're getting closer, and but down the road, I think the beauty to this, that, you know, Bo's right. My understanding that this move puts us 10 to 15 years in great shape.
Exactly. And like he said, those two, it's coming to where FCA is going to require it in a couple years anyway.
We're getting ready to shut down the,
The
what do you call it,
analog.
analog.
So, and just from this time, the first time we looked at it, it's went from 80,000 to 129,000.
Yeah, I know.
So in 2 more years, where does it go?
Where's it going?
Yeah.
That's right. Anything else for Drew right now?
Yes. Cameras, I'd still like to look into cameras for all our facilities, Drew. I don't know if that's something that we need. I mean, I'm interested in maybe doing a request for proposals on that, Mayor, and see what that would cost us. I was just thinking about this the other day when I came out to town hall. There's no cameras here. I know I don't even know if the wastewater, does the water treatment plants have, I mean, it seems like those facilities, we need that.
The only
added.
security we have at those plants are the gates.
I agree. I think there's that wastewater plant and water plant. I agree with Scott. I'd like to see some security
And
on
we have
those
that.
plants as far as video security.
Right, that's what we're looking at.
Do you think it'd be best though to do it to do a request for proposals and then let folks bid on that and then
We
maybe?
can, it might get expensive, we can, but.
Well, we could always do certain facilities and add, prioritize maybe. I mean, because I'd like to get a quote on everything that we have, every facility, within reason. I mean, the gates and inside the
And that's,
building.
I don't think the equipment may not be as much, I just think the labor gets crazy expensive, but we may be able to do it. That's what I met with Carlton and Chris about getting to where we can do it.
Which are the music, is it Jake for them? Is that who we use for the community center and the park? Is this the type of work they do that what Scott's talking about?
It is.
So are you thinking they're more financially reasonable as
$95.
opposed to going to RFPs? I don't know.
It may be more reasonable though than their hourly rate for maintenance and troubleshooting. I mean, as far as.
They charge us the flat rate across the board, so they're charging $95 an hour, whether it's Chad coming out and working on something. If you got 2 helpers just helping him, laborers, it's $95 an hour for 3 people. It got pretty expensive for just coming in and checking cameras and changing.
Have we converted the cameras for the police department now? Have they been upgraded to where, for example, Eric can look at a specific site with live what's happening with, like right now, somebody said there's somebody out there.
Yeah, we've got a.
You don't have to go bring a disc in now and load it and all that.
Well,
You bring that in for the DVR side.
yeah, I still have to hook it to,
If you want to go back in the office and look at what's going on out now, then yeah.
right, I can't pull it up.
That's what
Wi-Fi.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have a DVR, a live DVR right now.
Yes, but I can't access it like Wi-Fi through my phone.
Okay.
No, I mean,
And we want both.
Right.
If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
but I can go into the room in here and pull it up and watch
what's
it.
going on right now, but you can't from your house.
No, we don't have the Wi-Fi capability.
Okay, all right.
Or the.
You're ready to, here in Lebanon?
Yeah.
You get ready to have that Wi-Fi. Okay.
And I'd like to look at it both ways. I'd like to look at it in-house with Chris and Carlton, but even if they can help write a proposal or get the information we need to be able to bid that out as well. I mean, I'd like to look at it both ways, Mayor.
It's fine.
With reorganization coming up, Drew,
Yes, sir.
that it struck me that we have paving contracts or agreements, we have markings, we have HVAC, we have IT. And I don't know if it's time to bid those back out again. I think they moved reorganization 6 months. So I just like to check on those to see if those are due to be bid back out.
And
Paving, marking, HVAC, and IT.
I think Kevin needs to help us answer that question, because we have assigned contracts.
Well, it'll be in there. He can, yeah, he can.
Yeah, and actually, the paving and markings contracts is one of the reasons for streets committee.
Is it? Okay.
Okay, good.
And yes, there might be language in there that continues unless we change something. The software update, are you any further on that? And are we moving towards getting a different clock-in system? I mean, will that be part of the software upgrade with the town of Lebanon?
The software program that I guess Kevin was working on, not software, the clock-in, I guess Kevin was working clockwise. Beverly's been in touch with them. They're still working on that. But it will integrate with either, if we stay with Southern or whether we go a different route, it'll integrate with it, yeah. And then the software, like I said, I'm still, found a really good billing utilities company that we really like. We did some demos with Diana, Beverly, Cindy, and everyone. The problem is they don't offer accounting suite with their side. So now we're doing a few accounting demos to see if we can get one to integrate to match up with that.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you all.
Hey, Chief?
So, first off, we were able to take all the cars out to get the extra estimates on them. And, they pretty much couldn't get to them any quicker than more than the 4 could. But we turned them all in, so you can see. But they are working on one already and got it in, so hopefully we'll get some of the ones that's got the dings and back up on the road before long.
Do we have a copy of those there?
Yeah, I gave those to, I tried emailing them when I got them. But if there weren't with there, it might not have been on there, but I can go for you. I promise. There's 3 more on here. I've got them here, I've got a copy of them here. Well, I thought they were sent to me, but I'll get 2. Let's see. So for the month of September, we had 66 total summonses and arrests, 33 traffic and 33 criminal. We had 22 misdemeanor and 11 felony arrests, 9 motor vehicle crashes, 1 DUI arrest, 20 assist motorists, and responded to 398 total calls for service with 10,500 total miles patrolled. I put in there to break down for each cases as they come in, and again, it's kind of, that includes everything from just minor shopliftings up to severe cases that got pushed on up to the detective, so. Sergeant Hart, with DTF, was able to, he fit in a couple different roles here. He was able to make one successful purchase, the house of pet, which was purchased here in town, 2 warrants served, and he will continue with his indictments to help that, even though he's leaving his position, he'll still help on the indictments on those. So that'll help. Detective Kaiser was called out on 4 separate times to assist officers. Things like that. He took in 4 new cases on that, and there was a couple of search warrants we had to come out and help on everything, which led to a total of 18 warrants being processed by him. So he got that all on that. CTAC, we had 10 total CTAC transfers. 4 of those were from the town of Lebanon, so that helped out a lot to free up a lot of officers' time to necessarily on that. It was about all. Other than that, pretty much just business as normal going through.
Okay, any other questions for the chief at this time? Thank you, Eric. Mr. Taylor?
I have 2 or 3 things we need to discuss in closed session, please.
Any committee reports? Let's see, we got 2 committee meetings the week from tonight. Scott?
No report. I do have something under old business, Mayor.
Okay. No committee report? No. Deanna?
Drew covered it.
Okay. You're covered, right, Ms. Stanley?
On our meeting.
Fred? You good? Elijah?
Yes, sir, I have one question on this. Drew, this town 11 delinquent meals and lodging tax, is this the new updated standard operating procedure?
I prepared that,
You
and
did?
asked Diane to place it here for you,
So you prepared this one?
I did,
Okay.
for y'all's consideration.
Okay. Scott, we're in the old business.
I guess I could ask Drew about this during his town manager report. The theater pavilion, that project, are we any closer to breaking ground on it? Did Nathan finish his?
They have broke ground. Yeah.
Okay.
They started grade work today. So the first stage of that, getting that grade work, getting that bottom parking lot all gravelled up and laid down for the laying on area for all of the construction.
Great. Obviously they've got, the facade's looking a lot better, Mayor. They've redone the box office and put the glass.
Yeah, get that plastic out of the way.
It's looking a lot better.
Closer.
The basketball court,
Yes.
can you give us an update on that?
Robbie is getting, this week, we'll go back out and re-measure that, give us a new quote on the concrete price, which went up any. The asphalt price should be about the same. I talked to Bobby and Allstate paid what we had at their last Parks and Rec. I still got that information. I can send it out. And Shane thinks that the 2 mills that are in there right now we can use for the outside, if they're made for outside. You know anything about those, right? So
The only concern I have with those is being mistreated.
Yeah, if they come over on somebody, it's dangerous.
That,
And they're heavy. They're real heavy.
my mind is people lowering them, doing their thing and breaking.
just like the ones we had earlier, you can roll out.
Yeah,
No way of taking that loose and mounting them.
you would then shorten up your pole, you know? I don't know, I think if we're going that deep in it, we get some nice goals. They're not that,
Do we need to get rid of those that are over there, that can't use them?
Yes.
they're rough. I get some new, we're gonna do it.
The ones in the rec center.
No, we need to keep them, I think. Because we can turn them, my youth program can turn them sideways, and I can run 2 practices at one time.
The other thing I have under new business, Mayor, I'd like to propose a second round of tax relief for town Lebanon citizens.
Go in effect when? When are you looking at? After the first of the year?
Immediately.
Well, immediately. I'm for that too.
From the financial side, we budgeted over $100,000 in loss of revenue, I guess, from the budget meetings and proposing cutting or providing that relief versus, I mean, as a one-year ordeal, it ended up being, I think, $46,000 once all the criteria was met to qualify. I've been in contact with Drew, and I think he talked to Diane and Beverly. I just wanted to make sure that all the legwork was done, as far as, I know it took them months of hard work, of really, going through all of our accounts to see who's delinquent, who's not, and, just making sure that everybody that received the check was in good standing with the town. That ended up being a little bit more complicated. I know Elijah had to change some of the language. I don't really recall exactly what we did there. But bottom line is $46,000 is what we lost in revenue from that tax relief. And we have in the budget $100,000 at least for tax relief.
Tax relief. Will it be simpler this time, Diane, moving forward, the process?
Yes, sir, it should be.
Give all the
Is it what
legwork.
now?
Give it a stamp.
Oh, no, yeah, right.
Drew'd like to have his signature on the stamp.
Well, I didn't know how to, I'd like to make a motion, but I don't, Kevin, is as simple as doing a second round of,
Same terms and conditions, I guess.
tax relief, the same terms and conditions.
Amount.
The same procedure, or whatever you had.
Yeah,
It's
same.
25%, what's it?
25%, yes.
Keep it the same.
Same
An
formula.
additional 25%, same format, same criteria. I'll put that in the form of a motion now.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Everyone understand the motion and the second and the plan to go in effect as soon as possible, is that correct? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Another check coming, ain't it?
Can you give Randy our balance of our accounts before you write that check?
It ain't for me, I promise.
Yeah, the first round's already done. Anything else at this time before we go into closed session? At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing personnel and legal.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign.